Hi everyone, Janie here, and today I'm going to show you how to make a pop-up feature in your cards. No matter what size your card is, and it doesn't matter whether it opens from the top or from the side. Now, I'm not going to show you how to make a card. In fact, this card is from another video. I am just going to show you how to make the inside. So, let's get started. So the first thing you're going to need is a piece of patterned scrapbook paper, or even, solid cardstock will work. It's up to you totally. But you're going to need to cut it the exact same size as your card. So here's my card, and as you can see, it's the same size. And it doesn't matter. Mine is 5.5 by 8.5. And you could do this with a square card, a 5x7 card. It doesn't matter as long as you make this piece the same size and you score it the same way that your card is scored. So my card is scored right here down the center. That's going to be scored right down the center. So in my case, I'm scoring that at 4 1/4. And I'm going to make sure that it's scored really good there at 4 1/4. And then I am just going to fold that in half with the patterned part on the inside. Okay, so I've got that done. Now we'll move on to the next step. Okay, for this next step, I'm going to cut 1/4 of an inch off. So I'm leaving this folded, okay? And I'm going to cut a 1/4 inch off. So for my card, that means I'm going to be making it 5 1/4 inches. Now you're saying, why didn't I do this cutting before? It's because if I did, I would have to give you sizes for literally every card. And this way, I don't. I just have to tell you that you're going to cut a 1/4 of an inch off that direction. And then you're going to cut a 1/4 of an inch off the other direction. Make sure it's the open side. You don't want to cut off the side that's folded. So instead of 4 1/4 inches, this is now going to be 4 inches. And I'm going to cut that off. And now this is the size that I want to fit in my card because, let me grab it here, I don't want it to go all the way to the edges, okay? So it has a nice border around it, and that's exactly what I wanted, and that's exactly what you'll get if you cut it a 1/4 of an inch off and a 1/4 of an inch off. Okay, before I go any further, I want to go back over this one more time, okay? So you want to cut a piece of cardstock that is the same size as your card. It doesn't matter whether your card is a 5x7, a 4x6, a 4 1/4 by 5.5. It doesn't matter whether it's square, so it would be a 5x5 or a 5.5 by 5.5. It doesn't matter. Cut this piece the same size, okay? And then you're going to score it exactly how you would if you were going to make a card. So you're going to score it in half so that it folds the same way that your card folds, okay? So for my card, it folds that way. And then, no matter what size your card is, okay, no matter what size this is, okay, you are going to have it folded in half and cut a 1/4 of an inch off across the top and a 1/4 of an inch off across the side. And that will make it fit inside your card base with a nice border around it, which is exactly what you want. Okay. Now I'll move on to the next step. For this next step, you're going to need scissors. A ruler and pencil are optional. So you can either eyeball this if you know where you want to cut it and approximately how wide you're going to need this space, or you can measure. Because what we are measuring for, let me show you, is this, the pop-up mechanism, okay? And this one's already glued in, so I can't show you, but I'm going to show you on this one. So like I said, you can eyeball it. You can just come in and say, this is where I want it. I'm going to cut here and I'm going to cut here. Or if you want to make sure that, let's say, it's exactly in the center, I have a ruler that has the 0 and then measures either direction, and this is for centering. And so I can put this on here and know that that is the center. And for me, I'm going to come over 2 lines, which is a 1/2 inch this direction, and put a little dot. And I'm going to go 2 lines the other direction and put a little dot, and that gives me a 1 inch space. You don't have to have this 1 inch. It all depends on what you're going to use for your pop-up. You may need it wider, you may need it skinnier. You also may need to go in further or not. That's where you're going to kind of experiment a little bit, but I know that 1 inch is going to be all I need for this, okay? And then, just to make sure that I'm cutting to the same distance, I'm just going to go up here about, let me turn it this direction actually. Okay, I'm going to go up about 1 inch. So I have it about 1 inch apart, and I have it about 1 inch up. And that's what's going to work for me. And I'm just going to put a little line right there. And that tells me my stopping point. Again, I really want to get this through to you clear. You don't have to measure. I rarely measure unless I want it centered, which is what I'm doing. And then, like I said, just make sure that it's going to be wide enough for what you're putting in there. So now I'm just going to cut from that dot to that line, and from that dot to that line. Nobody's going to see these marks, so you don't have to even worry about erasing them. Okay, so now I've cut that. We're going to open this up and we're going to pop it in the other direction, okay, like so. Now, if you have a scoreboard, which I do, I'm going to go score along that line. And if you don't, just fold it. When you bring it in, bring that up, and actually maybe I won't use a scoreboard this time. Maybe I'll just show you. Just fold it on that line. But I like actually scoring it because on this side I don't have a line. So it's easier for me to score it. But just bring it into that point and just create your own little fold right there, okay? And this is what it looks like, and that's what the inside looks like, okay? And that's where this is going to go. And when it folds, it's going to fold down, just like that. So you want to make sure that whatever you're putting there is not so tall that when it folds down, it's going to stick out your card. So now I'm going to put this in the card, and I'll show you how to do that. Actually, before I put this in the card, I wanted to let you know that, like I said, you could put this anywhere on here you want. You can even add 2. You could put like 1 over here, 1 over here. You could do 3. It doesn't matter as long as you are just cutting in however far you need it, okay? And I can't tell you how far because I don't know the size of what you're going to be putting in there, okay? That's going to be up to you to judge whether it is wide enough. Now, the one thing you can do is if you do this and you open it up and think, ooh, I want it a little bit taller, then just come back out and cut a little bit further in. But you can't cut further out to the sides. It'll create little weird flaps there. You don't want that. But you can always cut in a little bit further even after you've done this. So I just wanted to point that out, that you don't have to just do a single one and it doesn't have to be in the center. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to take this and my glue, and my bottle's almost empty here. Okay, and I am going to go right around the edges, including the fold, and I'm going around that opening as you see, but I'm not going too close to it. I don't want glue to ooze out on the other side. And then I like to add a little bit of extra glue. That's just me. And as you see, I only put it on one side. I like to do one side at a time. So I'm going to set that in here. I'll line that up, not over the fold, but right up to the fold, okay? And just to be sure, you can close your card like that to make sure that you have not gone over the fold line right here, because you don't want to do that. Okay, so once you get one side done, then we're just going to put glue on the other side just the same way. And as you can see, This is so easy to do, and yet it looks so cool. You know, when the recipient opens it up and it pops up like that. Such a cool little feature that really doesn't take much at all. I mean, seriously, you don't even have to do any measuring for this. You don't have to have any special tools. You just need your scissors, unless, of course, like I said, you want to do the ruler and the pencil. But I usually don't, like I said, unless I am doing it in the middle. And open it up, and that pops up. And now I'm just going to glue that on there. And to do that, let me grab my glue. I'm not going to put the glue on the back of the watermelon there. I'm going to put it right here on this piece that it's going to be glued to. That way I know that I have the glue in the right place, because I could try to put it on the watermelon, get it in the wrong place, and glue it to everything else. Okay, so I have that on there. It looks about centered on there to me. And we're just going to close that up. And you are going to see how cool it looks here when I open it. Are you ready? Here's my card, and I open it up, and that pops up. Isn't that cool? So it's a little dimensional surprise right in their card. And you know, if you're using pattern paper like I did, you can use, hold on one second, you can cut a piece of cardstock or something to put right there to put your sentiment on. And that's how easy it is. If you use pattern paper, you know, I wouldn't use something that's too busy, but you know, you have this nice design there behind the watermelon, and then your sentiment right here. I love it. I think this is so cool. And you know, my card opens this direction. So let me tell you something. If your card opens this direction, you're going to want to put your image on this side. Okay? I can't open it all the way because I've got it in there and the watermelon's hiding it. Okay. You're going to want to put it on this piece instead of on this piece. So if you open this direction, that way it pops out. Whoops, my bad, off camera, sorry. That way it pops out this direction instead of this direction. And I hope that that doesn't confuse you, but it's really easy to do and super easy, super fun. And I hope you liked this tutorial. Thank you all so much for stopping by. I appreciate you more than words can say. And a big thank you out to Annie from Annie Creates here on YouTube for suggesting that I make this tutorial after she received a birthday card from me with this pop-up feature. If you'd like to see that card, I will have a link to Annie's video below in my description box. Happy crafting, everyone. Bye-bye.